Hello everybody, this is Anthony again. I haven't made a video in a while, but I decided to after having a very interesting experience with this brand of computer builders, iBuyPower. So, iBuyPower was having a sale on the 1st of January for $600, or maybe it was $800. You get this nice machine with second generation i7 core processor, 12 gigs of RAM, terabyte hard drive. I think a nice AMD graphics card. And I was like, well, I need a new tower. Why not? So that's what I proceeded to order. Spent the money. I got the machine back on the 20th. The machine came here. I booted it up, and it didn't work. It would lose power during the Windows setup. Total utter nightmare. So I look in the back of the machine, and I find that the power supply on the inside of it, maybe you can see it here. Probably not though. Back here, I saw that there were actually bent transistors in there, and so I figured, you know what? Maybe it's a crappy power supply. I called the guys up, and I wasn't even mad. I was like, whatever. I'll send you a machine, you guys swap out the power supply, no problem. So that was the first trip back to the store, and that was the first box. So I sent it back. I got it back yesterday, box number 2, as you can see there, and I booted it up, and the same freaking problem happened. Turns out it was the motherboard not being set up correctly for the RAM. I'm actually still having this issue. So what's happening is this machine will just lose power randomly because the motherboard that was put in there isn't configured correctly to send enough, a specific amount of voltage to the RAM. So I had to do a ton, oh, there's me, hello. A ton of research to get this shit to work properly. Let me pull the back of this case off here, and you're gonna see I got 3 sticks of RAM in there. It's some crappy company who makes them called Super Talent. They're some Chinese company, and what they ended up making was this buffer, no zero buffer RAM, 4 gig sticks. There's 3 of them in there, and my operating system as of right now is only reading. Let me go in here. There we go. 8 gigabytes of the 12 gigabytes. So, again, I'm going to have to call these guys back. The whole point of me telling you all this is simply, I buy this machine, I'm thinking, oh, there's all these custom parts. They're going to put it together. They're going to test it. They don't really test it. They see if it powers up, and then they high-five each other. And after they high-five each other, they mail it to you. And that's all they're doing. They're not running it. They're not booting it up. But I'm going to throw up the setups, the BIOS is up here. And so you can see some other stupid shit that they didn't do that I've been having to take care of and kind of figure out myself. So I'm going to bring up the settings in here. Come on, buddy. There we go. So there's this AI tweaker bullshit. Basically, this is what you use to tweak all these different settings within your system. The amount of data being, the amount of electricity going to the graphics card and the RAM and everything else. And so what I have here is this AI overclock tuner. And this was set to auto originally, and the machine was just looping. It would turn on, crash, turn off, turn on, crash, turn off, turn on, crash, turn off, alright? So what I ended up having to do is figure out, by searching all these Chinese websites, what the voltage is of my RAM, and then once that happened, I had to set the RAM to 1.5 volts. It's still not right. I mean, they did not set the BIOS up right on this motherboard. So, all these forms are telling me that there's a setting in here that I have to set in order for it to work. But whenever I change this setting in any other way, the machine goes into this death loop where it boots up, turns off, boots up, turns off, boots up, turns off. No particular order, just randomly, because I guess you're sending too much electricity to the RAM, and the machine just turns itself off. Something like that. I'm a pretty layman when it comes to a lot of the hardware shit. But anyway, the point of this entire video is, if you're going the route of not buying a Dell machine or something that is built and tested, and it's a company that's just going to put a bunch of random parts together, you're going to run into stuff like this. This isn't the first time I've been burned. I like the performance for the price, but now I'm going to have to call them again and over the phone have someone try to help me figure out what this Chinese RAM's voltage settings are supposed to be on the Sabertooth motherboard BIOS. It's kind of it's been a long and grueling process, and I'm hoping not to have another box sitting in my corner, because you send it to them, they give you a FedEx ground ticket, and you don't pay for the shipping. But I live in New Jersey, so it's like 5 days before they even get it, and then it goes into a warehouse, and then you're in a queue, and you're waiting like 3 or 4 days before they even start working on your machine. And then you finally get, if you get a hold of somebody over there, they'll put it through. And then 4 or 5 days after that, they might mail it back to you if they find the problem. So it's been a month and a week. The machine's working, but it's not working to spec as to what they sold it to me. I'm just going to have to say, this will be the last time I buy from iBuyPower, hands down, or anything like that. If you're going to sell a system, you should make sure that, you should boot the system up and make sure that all the hardware you're putting in the machine can function correctly on a successful Windows boot, and they did not do that. Alrighty, that's my rant. Thanks for listening.